I'm heading into the testing center next week to knock out the first two tests I need in my world-class certification journey. T1 and T2, medium heavy-duty truck, gasoline and diesel engines. If you're working towards truck certs, moving into the fleet side, or just trying to level up your engine diagnostics, these two are a solid place to start. Today I'm breaking down what each test covers, how it's set up, and the specific strategy I'm using to prep to make sure that you're ready to navigate exams and walk out of there with the results you're looking for. Walking into that room, we're dealing with two different animals. T1 gas engines is 60 total questions with 50 scored. T2 diesel is 65 total questions with 55 scored. Each test includes 10 extra research questions that don't count towards the score. You won't know which ones they are, so treat every question like it's the one that determines if you get that patch. Time-wise, T1 gives you about 75 minutes and T2 gives you 90. That might sound like plenty, but with the way ASE words things, pacing matters just as much as knowing the material. Let's look at T1 first. Even as the industry leans harder into diesel and alternative power, gasoline still shows up all over the class 4 through 6 world. Delivery fleets, service bodies, and specialized equipment that's still running spark plugs. ASE breaks T1 into 8 content areas. If you're trying to study smart, focus on general diagnosis and computerized controls, as those two areas alone make up nearly half of the scored questions. For T1 general engine diagnostics, you need to be able to verify the complaint and use tools like compression and vacuum tests to separate mechanical issues from ignition or fuel problems. You'll see questions like, an engine has low power and a vacuum gauge shows a steady reading of 10 inches at idle. Technician A says the ignition timing could be retarded. Technician B says there could be a restriction in the exhaust. Who's right? In this case, they're both right. You have to be able to spot those patterns fast. In the cylinder head, valve train, and engine block sections, it's about identifying symptoms of mechanical failures. Things like valve sealing problems, bearing noise, or excessive blow-by. Lubrication and cooling is very straightforward. Diagnose oil pressure issues and cooling flow, focusing on thermostat and fan control operation. Ignition systems and fuel air exhaust are where the drivability questions live. You need to be solid on verifying spark, checking coils, and identifying intake or exhaust restrictions. The final two areas, emission and computerized engine controls, are critical. You need to understand EVAP and EGR strategy, but more importantly, you need to diagnose believable but biased sensor data. For example, a truck has a TPS and MAP sensor code. Both share a 5-volt reference. If the reference wire is shorted to ground, what will the scan tool show? You need to know that all sensors on that shared bus are going to go dark. That's where the ASE likes to test if you actually understand the circuit or if you're just a parts hanger. Now, T2 diesel engines is a different beast. It's 55 scored questions and the systems are much more interconnected. On this test, the fuel system and general diagnosis are the heavy hitters, followed closely by air induction and exhaust. General diagnosis is all about using symptom and data combos to pinpoint the cause. Cylinder head and engine block are similar to T1, but with a diesel focus on how wear affects power balance and smoke color. Lubrication and cooling on T2 adds the layer of heavy-duty cooling loads, so think about the consequences of poor cooling maintenance. The air induction and exhaust section is where you'll spend a lot of time. You need to diagnose turbo boost issues, VGT operation, and EGR-related airflow problems. You might see something like a diesel engine has a code for frequent DPF regenerations. Technician A says a leaking EGR cooler could be the cause. Technician B says an intake air leak after the turbo could be the cause. Again, they're both right because both lead to excessive soot. The fuel system section is massive. Be ready to diagnose supply side and high pressure side issues, injector aeration, and return flow concepts. T2 also includes starting and charging, focusing on heavy-duty 24-volt system and voltage drop. And finally, engine brakes. Do not ignore this section. It's about 7 questions on the test, and if you haven't touched a Jake brake in a while, brush up on it. T2 will absolutely make you pay for ignoring the sound of freedom coming from the exhaust. To get ready, I'm leaning on our motor age training guides alongside the official ASE study guide. I use the task list in the back of the guide like a pre-flight checklist. I go section by section and ask, can I perform this task in the shop, and explain the OEM procedure to the customer? If the answer is maybe, I hit that chapter again until it's second nature. The practice tests are a very valuable tool, but only if used correctly. Don't just hunt for the right letter. If you miss a question, or even if you guessed right, read the explanation for why the other 3 answers were wrong. ASE is famous for distractor answers. Answers that sound like things you've heard in the shop, but are technically incorrect for the specific scenario. Learning how to spot these distractors is how you get a consistent passing score. We should also talk about the Technician A and Technician B questions. The trick is to stop reading them as a conversation and treat them as 2 separate true-false statements. Evaluate Tech A by itself, then evaluate Tech B. If only A is right, pick A. If both are accurate, pick both. One thing that trips people up is bringing real-world shortcuts into the room. In the shop, we all have faster ways to check things. The "I've seen this 1,000 times" method. But on the ASE exam, you're in a service manual land, a magical place where every bolt is torqued, the floor is clean, and nobody has lost their 10mm socket. The only right answer is the manufacturer specified procedure. If a question asks for the proper way to test a circuit, don't pick the shortcut. Pick the method that the service information spells out. Also, watch out for absolute words like always and never. In diagnostics, things are rarely that black and white. If a statement claims a failure always causes a specific symptom, that's usually a red flag that the statement is false. I'm feeling good heading into next week. This is a big step for me, building momentum for that world-class journey. These certs are a great way to validate the skills we use every day, especially as vehicle technology keeps getting more advanced and more integrated. If you're prepping for T1 and T2 alongside me, stay locked in, follow the task list, and focus on the why behind the diagnostic. Don't let the trick questions get under your skin. Drop a comment with which test you're working on right now, and after test day, I'll be back with an update on how it went. Good luck to everyone testing. Let's go earn some patches.